Welcome to another week of Unturned Pages. As you can see, Russ is not with us tonight. He is homesick because he's been busting his butt at his day job. But we have Candy back. As you remember, Candy was here a couple weeks ago. Maybe a couple, in September.
About a month, yeah.
About a month or so. So I'm super excited she has stepped in to do the co-host position tonight. But yeah, how are you, Miss Candy?
Wonderful. It's Halloween weekend. How can we not be wonderful, right?
I know. And me and Candy and a few others are getting really excited for this coming weekend. We will be at the Bell Mansion, investigating that historical place in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So me and Candy are plugging away, getting things squared away for next weekend. We're super excited.
Yes.
And we got many more adventures to happen before the end of the year together. So a lot of adventures to be talked about.
Over half the year, over half the weekends left, we're together, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Crazy times ahead of us. I had to make a drink. But yeah, I'm super excited. Tonight we have Jessica and Natalie. They are out of here in Minnesota. They are paranormal investigators. They are authors. Natalie is a psychic medium. So we're going to be talking about paranormal cryptids, psychic mediumship, and so much more, including haunted locations here in Minnesota.
Awesome.
So let's bring them on after I take a sip of my iced tea here. Let's bring them on. There is Natalie and there is Jessica. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having us.
We're super excited to have you. I know you will be joining us at Enchanted Expo on December 2nd as well.
Yes, we're excited about that.
I know, I'm super excited. I'm thinking, who should we invite this for December? Because it's a smaller one from the June event. And I'm like, Natalie and Jessica.
Yay!
Minnesota natives, paranormal investigators. So we're bringing in the paranormal as well. So I'm super excited.
We're excited too. Hey, I think Natalie's having a hard time hearing you guys.
Uh-oh.
Is there like a button or something you can click?
Maybe she has
a mute on her tablet.
I'll text her.
Uh-oh.
We can keep chatting.
She might have to come leave and then come back in.
Okay, I'll text her that.
Okay. So
the fun of being live, all of the
technical
snafus.
So Jessica, what got you into the paranormal at first?
Honestly, it was really just kind of a lifetime of experiences. And I have so many memories of my childhood of seeing things and not knowing what they were and being startled and, frightened by what I would see. As I grew up and I had children and my children started to have experiences, I wanted to kind of make sense of what was going on for both of our sakes, really. But when I was a kid, I grew up in a very kind of evangelical religious home. And so everything I encountered, I would be told that it was demons, and that was terrifying. Mm-hmm. And I thought there has to be a better explanation that I can give my kids. So that's really kind of where it all started. So I wrote my first book, and it was about a girl who could see spirits. It was kind of like an autobiographical, fictionalized story of my own life. And then I just started kind of building my author platform based on all of that. And it's been so fun.
Natalie, can you hear us now?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And she was just talking before the show started.
I know, right?
I think the ghosts are messing with her.
What if she unplugs and replugs her AirPods back in?
Let me ask her.
Oh my God, the spirits of the Grant house came home with her.
We just got back this morning, so it's possible.
They're like, oh, you're not done investigating me. I'm coming home with you.
Well, they were very active. I have to tell you guys, it was wild because we've been to a lot of locations and done probably more investigations than I could count. But when we kind of opened the doors to the kitchen area, it was instantaneous. We had instantaneous engagement from the spirits. Like our REM pod started going off right away. We captured something mapping in on the SLS in one section. And then in back corner of the dining room area, a group of women were like talking to the flashlight, and it was going on and off intelligently to their questions. And so we had all of that going on at the exact same time. And it was just crazy. It's like we opened the door and like just everything came out to play. It was really fun.
Okay, so for people who don't know what the Grant House is, can you tell them a little about the history and what it is today?
Well, what I understand of it now, I was saying we kind of went in super blind on this investigation, which typically we'll have Natalie do a ton of research and come in and do an historical perspective of locations. But we thought it would be really fun to kind of come in and not know a lot about kind of what the previous haunting were, and really even any of the names that might be associated or the energies that might be associated with it. But I do know that it was a hotel built in Rush City, Minnesota back in the 1880s, I believe. And it was functioning for a few years before it burnt down, as it kind of seems like all of the wonderful, fun hotels did back in the day. And then it was rebuilt. Yep, there it is. It's so beautiful.
There's the first Grant House.
And then they rebuilt the existing house or hotel on top of the same foundation, which is really cool when you go down into the basement and you're able to see, those layers of history and know that that was where the former building once stood. So such a cool location. It's now pretty quiet. It used to have a functioning restaurant in it. It doesn't at the moment, but it's functioning as a hotel that you can stay in. But that really worked out perfectly for us because we do writing and art workshops at our events, and we were able to just kind of have that whole main level to ourselves and have everyone doing their art and writing kind of all over the main level. It was perfect.
I love the Grant House. I think the first time I went there was 2010, 2011. It was a blizzard weekend. I remember that. God forbid, Minnesota, you have a big paranormal event booked in the winter, and what do you get? You get a blizzard.
Always a blizzard.
Because at the time, Demented Entertainment was doing an event there with some other people. Brandy Green was there. Scotty Roberts was there.
Awesome.
Sarah Harmon, aka Sarah Schoderland.
Yeah.
We're all there. And that's the first glimpse into the Grant House I had. And that was an active night. And then I met the brother-in-law who owned the building at the time. And we got in there multiple times a month to investigate. So that place is very close to my heart. I love it. I'm glad that it's reopened.
Yeah.
Let's see if Natalie can hear us now.
I can hear.
Yay!
Oh my God! Now I know what it feels like to be a ghost. Trying to communicate and nobody's understanding me.
Knock 3 times if you can hear me.
Yeah. Knock 3 times. Da, da, da. So now we have Natalie joining us finally, who can hear us and can talk. Natalie, tell everyone a little about yourself.
Goodness. Let's see. I missed all of the other introductions. So my name is Natalie Fowler, and I am a huge history nerd and research geek. So I am the researcher and historian for Ghost Stories, Inc. Jessica and I met several years ago, right after I moved back from Belgium. And we've been soulmates and soul sisters ever since. We have worked on a number of different writing projects together, and just kind of sometimes share the same brain, it seems like. So we also have our own individual stuff that we do. Over the course of my work with Ghost Stories, Inc., I figured out that I actually have a lot of psychic gifts of my own. So in the last few years, I started developing those, and I launched out on my own as a practicing psychic medium, which is not ever something I thought I would be when I grew up. But and the last 6 months or so I've been on a sabbatical from readings and things like that, so that I can focus more on my writing work and kind of tackle some creative projects that have been sitting on the shelf for a while. So yeah, it was fun to be out last night using some of those gifts and skills again.
Oh, I bet.
That's
You know,
awesome.
taking some time off and focusing on things you need to do, you get back into it right away, and you just feel like you haven't even been gone.
Yep.
So we were talking about the Grant House. What were your experiences?
Oh goodness. Jessica probably mentioned we hadn't ever been there before, and it was really fun to be somewhere kind of cold and not know a lot. And I'm usually one to dive into the history and try to uncover a lot of that stuff in advance so that I can share the stories and everything with our guests. And this time it just felt really fun and exciting to not do any of that work in advance so that we could kind of go in cold. And it made it a really fun paranormal experience, just to kind of, untap something that we had never done before and be in a brand new space. And I'll probably do some research now with some of the names that we've gotten and see what lines up. Sometimes I used to be a lawyer, so I always am looking for the logical, rational proof of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I can usually find a lot of that in history, through old newspapers and stuff like that. So it'll be fun to kind of tackle some research on this place now that we've been there and see if I can kind of uncover anything that lines up with what we experienced last night.
Oh, you'll have to share what you find, because we're going to go there, I guess, in the early part of next year, right, Jenny?
I hope so. I sent an email to figure out pricing and availability, because I'm like, Candy's never been to Minnesota investigating, so I'm like, we're already going to the Palmer House in 2 weeks. Where else can I take her that I've been? And I'm like, the Grant House.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe down the road we could do the Anderson House, which I have never been to the Anderson House yet. But
what about the Boyd House?
We could go to the Boyd House. I haven't been there yet.
I will say the Anderson House is also great. We went there. What month was that, Natalie? Do you remember? It was a few months ago. We had an event there, and it was a new location to us too. We hadn't been there before. But gosh, that place has the coolest kind of gangster tie-in history.
Yeah.
We were, as writers, and the whole point of Ghost Stories Inc. for us is really to become creatively inspired by historic and haunted locations, and then take people on that journey with us and really, I kind of say, like, crack open their creative parts and their paranormal parts, like turning it all on and engaging it and just kind of cracking that piece of them open. And there, it was just like, we were so stoked. Natalie's a huge fan, a huge gangster nerd. So sitting in the room,
being Candy too.
Yeah. I've done extensive research on John Dillinger. I based one of my fictional manuscripts on a ghost that was based on John Dillinger. So I did a ton of the Dillinger research for that years ago. So I pulled out my books and looked through, and I was actually there's a story there. Jessica, what was the story about Dillinger staying there?
Well,
do you remember?
From what I remember, and my memory, I'm tired and old and all of that.
You're not old. Stop.
From what I remember, that was one of the last places he stayed before he journeyed on to the last place he eventually was shot and killed. And he was on the run, and he stayed in the room. I'm looking at the picture, and I want to say it was either the second or third floor when you're looking at like the trestle part. I'm probably saying the wrong word there, but that really cool part that's coming out of the corner there. And Natalie and I were up in there writing, and we were just, oh my gosh, we're like feeling the vibes and loving every second. Part of the story though is that he actually left in the middle of the night, and that the vehicle that he came in was left at the Anderson House, and it was actually housed like in a garage behind there for many, many, many years, just like a bucket of rust before they finally got rid of it.
Yeah.
Any
so
Capone there?
What was that, Jenny?
Candy. What were you saying?
Any Capone? Al Capone? He there?
No, but he's connected to the Commodore in St. Paul. He used to stay there when it used to be a hotel.
Nice.
But with Dillinger, so being the huge nerd that I am and trying to like line up and prove some of this stuff, I have a book that is extensively details Dillinger's travels and escapades. And I was able to find a whole section in the book that after Dillinger had the shootout near the Lexington Court Apartments, which is actually right around the corner from the Lexington. I was there last year to investigate that with Dave Schrader, and it was so cool to connect the gangster history to the Lexington. And and we in this book, right after he left the Lexington Court Apartments in a shootout, and that's where his girlfriend Billy was arrested. They were able to trace his route where he kind of went down he was headed back to Chicago, and they used that road that runs through Wabasha, the highway. They used to travel that road back and forth. So there was a timeline that lined up with the stories that we were hearing from the staff at the Anderson Hotel. And that was just that's like gold, right? When you find that stuff that lines up. Yeah. So
hold on. I'm just copying the show to the Enchanted Expo page so people can join us that way as well. Hold on.
Have you had any paranormal experiences with Dillinger? Or you're both mediums. Have you seen him?
I have not.
No. Definitely other gangsters. There were some gangsters hanging out at the Palmer House for a while in the basement.
Yep.
Yeah, we even set up a poker table for them at one point. Yeah, and one of the things that we did in the basement there a few years ago was play some of that old time music.
Oh, nice.
During an investigation, and that just it lightened. It was just cool. So.
Yeah, the Palmer House is special. It's a special place for sure. But what is besides Dillinger, what is the history of the Anderson house?
That's the big one that sticks out most in my mind. I think that was the one that we were the most excited about. Do you recall when it was built? It's the oldest standing and functioning hotel in Minnesota.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
Yeah. So that makes it really special in and of itself. Do you remember anything else about the history, Natalie?
Not off the top of my head, because now it's running together with everything from the Grant house. And I don't want to speak out of turn and cite wrong facts, but
we highly recommend you ladies get there. It was really active and very fun. There's a cool little speakeasy down in the basement. That's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever want to do any more the mob type thing, there's a place out in Baraboo, Wisconsin called the Old Baraboo Inn. Ooh. That place is really cool. And then Candy,
the Rock Island YMCA.
Yes.
Yeah. Haunted John Rooney, Al Capone, Helen Van Dale. Yeah.
Oh,
so cool.
That place is definitely crazy. I went there for the Haunted Rock Island Paracon in this month. It's not November yet, so I can't say it's past month. But this month, and that place has crazy energy too. Between Rock Island and Old Baraboo, you could tell the mob people were in that, and speakeasies and brothels and everything.
That brothel energy brings a whole different layer of energy to areas. We were writing a book on Deadwood, and we went to Deadwood, and we got out of it was kind of funny because we were so stoked about it, and we're we're going to bring our kids here, and we're going to have our book signing here. It's going to be so awesome. And we get out of the car, and it was just this heavy energy of just sadness
and desperation.
It was
desperate feeling of the gold rush. Everybody wanted to make it big, and not very many people did.
And we both have very psychically sensitive children. So we're maybe we shouldn't bring our girls here.
Yeah, River's very psychic and very empathic. And we took her to the Palmer House. And she wanted to spend the whole time in the kids' room. So I was that's fine. That's fine. We're not taking you to the basement. We're not taking you anywhere else. You can go to the kids' room and play with the kids' spirits. And
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
playing with them, so that was fun. Because she would have
We
whole
did
conversations with them.
Yeah.
We did a kids event at the Palmer House a few years ago, and it was geared towards kids like probably 9 to 15, and because that's happened to be the exact ages of our kids, and it was so fun and so fascinating because a lot of what Jessica and I do in our work is try to make this, teach others differently than what we were taught. We both have kids, and I know that when I was growing up, I was constantly told over and over again that there's no such thing as ghosts and it's just your imagination. And here, when my kids started talking about the things that they were seeing, their mother was writing ghost stories, so I couldn't tell them that there was no such thing. And so one of the things we put together a few years ago was a kids event, and all with the idea that this doesn't have to be scary. Let's figure out what we're talking to. And we had this whole section called Games with Friends. And we took everyone in the event downstairs into the basement during the day, and we had the Connect 4 game set up, and we had a poker table set up. And so we had K2 meters out, and the kids were actually playing games with ghosts. They would use the K2 meter to ask the ghost which slot it wanted to put the checker in, and it was so funny when the ghost would win, and the energy in the room was just so fun. And then when we took the kids down there for a ghost hunt later, it was, it's hard to be afraid of something that played Connect 4 with you earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, for people who don't know the history of the Palmer House, quickly, because I know you guys know the history very well, so do I. What is the history of the Palmer House? Before we say that, Derek, turn your headphones off so you don't hear this before next weekend. I see Candy's husband's in the chat, and I know he doesn't like throwing the history because he's like a comedian as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, turn your headphones off for the next 5-10 minutes. You don't hear this.
Okay, Natalie, I'm going to let you take it away.
Well, we can try not to spoil anything.
Yeah.
And just give a brief rundown. It was built originally as the Sauk Center House in the 1800s, and the first hotel that stood on the site was burnt to the ground actually during a fire, as what happens with a lot of those places back in the day when you actually had like a fire pit in your kitchen to try to cook your food. And so it burnt to the ground, and then the town wasn't sad about that because I think it had kind of started to collect some unsavory characters. And the town kind of put out a call in the newspapers looking for someone who wanted to come in and take on a project and build kind of a world-class hotel in Minnesota, in small town Minnesota. And the Palmer family answered the ad, and they came in, and their whole vision was to create modern for the time hotel, and it was one of the first hotels in the state that had functioning electricity and indoor plumbing. So I think there was one bathroom on each floor, and
yep.
I can't remember how many rooms it had originally, like 30,
32, I think. 30.
Okay.
It was in the 30s.
I'm terrible remembering numbers after
it was either
sleep.
30 or 27. I can't remember.
Yeah, so they had lots of rooms. A lot of, back in the day, people would use the hotels kind of almost as an apartment. Some people living there full time, and a lot of traveling salesmen coming through because that's how people got their goods. And the train stop was just down the road. And during the wintertime, they would use sleds to bring people back and forth to town. And the hotels like this became kind of the centerpiece of the town. And it's where all the gossip happened. It's where all of the news and events were shared. So if you're at the Palmer House, on the stairway that you just showed in the last picture, there's a really cool article hanging on the steps that talks about the opening of the Palmer House and how it flung open its doors and ladies came in, and the stories go that the women were they drank excessive amounts of tea so that they could use the indoor facilities and go to the bathroom inside. And everyone was fascinated with the electrical light switches. So they were constantly turning on and off lights. And that's one of the paranormal happenings that occurs all the time is the lights will turn off and on. People were coming in off the street just to check how the lights worked, and I think that they ended up running switches really fast and had to have them replaced within the first few months of the hotel opening. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you read somewhere that it was the first building to have electricity in that area?
It was, in the area for sure. It was one of the first. I think the crew that installed the electricity, it was only like their second or third building that they had even installed it in. So, yeah.
Candy, this is the basement of the Palmer house that you might get to see in 2 weeks.
Oh, we're going to manifest.
So the other thing is that at the Grant house where we were last night, one of the coolest things that I noticed at the Grant house or the Grant Hotel was the river rock in the basement was almost the exact same as the Palmer house.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And it was similar story. It was a similar story where they built the hotel up over the original foundation of the one that burned down. So.
Yep. Definitely. I love the Palmer house. The spirits know me as soon as I walk in. It starts like a fireworks show of activity.
It
now
becomes
I'm more excited.
Yeah, you have to go, Candy. It becomes like a home away from home. And it's so funny to me, like even my kids, like my daughter just went off to college in San Diego. And so we had to plan an event in January when she's home because she needs to go to the Palmer house. And my youngest loves it too. She's 13, but she's been going there for a few years. And she just feels so comfortable there. And it's so funny to me because it really is like, for Natalie and I, a lot of what we do is just really wanting to take the fear out of it and take the scary out of it, we just think, there's no reason to be terrified and you have autonomy of your own physical space. And so that's what we like to teach people when they come to our events, especially the kids.
So I think Candy's staying in room either 11 or you said
11 or 17. Yep.
Oh,
So
goodness.
both are
11 is my
good.
favorite. Yeah, 11 is Annie's room, and that's my favorite room in the whole hotel. I just love her room. And, of course, Lucy in 17 is fun, too. Right?
Yes.
Is that Lucy? Yeah.
Yep. And then right across, I think, is Raymond's room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And Raymond and Lucy are two of the most notorious spirits there. They're always active. Anywhere in the building.
Nice.
Basement. There's activity for sure.
Yeah.
It's got a funky energy just from the picture. It's like, wow.
Oh, yeah. There's funky energy in the basement.
Technology, why can't we invent a way to teleport? Because it would be so nice to just be there.
We could all be there right now.
Yeah.
I know, right? The last time I went was with Brian and Michelle, and we were in the snowman room, and the chair that Michelle was sitting in was shaking while she was sitting there. And I'm sitting next to her. She goes, "Can you feel that?" I'm like, "Your chair's shaking?" Yeah. She's like, "Okay, we're going to switch spots. See if it happens when you're sitting here." I get in her seat and it's shaking even more. I'm like, "Yep, okay." They don't want us sitting here. But yeah, it's been funny because we even got through the spirit box up in, I think it was Lucy's room. They do not like Zach Bagans. Like it specifically said, Zach Bagans enter a inappropriate language word here. No. So we're like, "You don't like Zach Bagans?"
Oh, wow.
No, he evil. I'm like,
oh wow.
Okay. And then we asked about Steve and Tango because they've done events there before. With,
I've been up there
Dave
for
Tango
their events.
and his dad, and they love Dave and Steve. They love them. Like they were asking through the spirit box to bring them back. Like specifically saying Steve, and they said Steve, and we're like his friend. He goes, "Tango, come back."
Yeah, that's fine.
And so we told Steve and Dave, we're like, You guys are being called back to the Palmer House. Get back there.
That's great. Well, I think too, the spirits are really accustomed at the Palmer House to us coming in and being respectful of them, because Kelly does such a great job of really instilling that in everyone who comes, and she's selective about who she lets come, right? Because she only wants people to come who are going to be respectful. And so, you know, in defense of Zach, he's doing a show and they, I think, want them to be the tough guys. That's part of the persona, right? So it's a little more difficult to be as respectful as the rest of us are, like, please and thank you, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I love the Palmer House. I've been going there since 2010. And every time I walk in, it's like a firework of energy. The spirits are like, she's back. Let's party now. Like when we went with Brian and Michelle, the first night, Thursday night, I had went into the kids' room. I'm like, okay, it wasn't getting any activity in there. I'm like, if you want, you can come back to my room, which was across the hall in 3 with the double beds. And I'm like, I'm going to leave my equipment on the floor. Feel free to play with it. Make it light up. After 15, 20 minutes of it going crazy, I had to shut it off. Because the REM pod was going off. The tripwire was going off. I was seeing shadows. My music box was going off. I'm like, okay. So I shut it off. Put my head back on the pillow. And the REM pod turns back on. And you know how hard a REM pod is to turn on.
It is.
To turn back on. I'm like, okay, you really want to play? So I let them play all night until my mom's like, turn it off. I'm like, I did. And you see what happened.
Time to pull the batteries.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It would have been my luck for it to turn on without batteries at that point. But yeah, the Palmer House is special. I'm excited for Candy to go up on the 11th, and I'll meet her up for dinner and be like, yep, now you watch the fireworks.
Dana. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Watch all the fireworks.
And one of the other really haunted and historic places in Minnesota, there's some news about. There was an article a couple weeks ago that everyone in the paranormal community is talking about, and that's that Four Paws might be opening up again.
Oh yeah, so, I saw that.
Yeah,
but it's not opening up as like a restaurant this time. I think, if I remember.
I'm not sure. They just are. You know, it looks like it's been sitting empty for so long. You know, Jessica and I have done a couple of presentations there, and that was just a really cool historic place in Minnesota to be able to investigate. And it was so sad when it closed. So, yeah.
My dogs. Sorry.
Not the puppies, right? But yeah. Not a haunted location. I think we've all investigated, except for Candy.
I haven't been there yet either. I haven't investigated at Mounts. No, I've never been there.
I have. That was the first place.
Jessica was there with me.
Jessica has, yeah. It was before my time with the group, though.
Yeah, that's the first place I've ever been. That was my introduction to anything ghost hunting related, and it was so funny. I actually took my daughter's Girl Scout troop leader with me because I was like, going to this haunted place, and I need someone to go with me. I've never done this before, so
yeah. That place
is Jenny, you're checking a place off my bucket list. You check a couple off and then you throw more on. That place looks awesome. Just
It is awesome. It is awesome, but it's in a really bad area of town.
Yeah. We were just talking about that. We loved going there. We did. I went and Jenny was there the time that I went. And then another time I went with Ghost Stories Inc. after I formed the group and Sean was saying, it's so cool in there and you get so much activity. It's amazing. And then you kind of walk out to your car and you're like, I hope my car is still here. And I hope I don't get mugged on the way to my car.
Yeah. Because
it just goes back to people are more scary than ghosts.
Yes, definitely, especially in that area of town. Yeah, I had my iPad stolen from the Mountains Theater because I was helping when Lisa Lee used to run it for like all like performances and the ghost hunts and stuff. We were there every weekend helping her run like concessions, ticket booths, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody went into the ticket booth and stole my iPad.
Jesus.
So I'm like, awesome. Not taking anything there again. But the spirits of the mountains theater are so fun. Except one time we had to push out something that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It was like trying to push people over the edge of the top floor where the
Oh wow.
Oh no.
projection room and stuff were. Like I was almost pushed over the edge. A friend of mine was almost pushed over. We're like, okay, what brought this energy in? Because it hadn't been there before. So we're thinking it's the area of the town probably that
could be part of it, and I feel like, with places like that, people bring their own energy with them. We notice that at events too. You have events and you don't know who's coming and they come with their own energy. Yep. And sometimes it's like a high vibe energy and sometimes it's kind of a low vibe energy. And so you have to kind of contend with the spirits of your guests as well as the spirits that are associated with just the history of the location.
Yeah. But that place is creepy because we actually slept there a couple of times when they had like the stage up with beds and stuff. We slept there. We heard noises all night long, like people knocking on the walls behind us, footsteps up above, footsteps on the stage, and everything. I think the most profound experience I had at the mountains was we had a spirit box going up on the third floor, a spirit box on the second, and a spirit box in the basement. And they all stopped at the same time and had Native American chanting come through.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. And that area has a lot of Native American history.
Yeah, because it's not that far from the Indian Mountains.
Right.
Yeah.
And all three recorders stopped at the spirit boxes stopped at the same time with the Native American chanting.
That's really cool. That actually kind of gives me chills.
Yeah, I used to have the recording. I don't know what happened to it, but it was like in Native American language. You couldn't understand it, but you heard like the fire in the background. You heard like the chanting and the instruments and everything. But three spirit boxes stopped. One including a Frank's box. We had a Frank's box going in the basement, and another one was a PSB at the time, and one of the hack shacks that got turned into a spirit box.
Yeah.
That's spirit boxes.
That's a cool thing with all of these locations too, is you just have so many layers of history. So you have so many layers of energy and spirits that you might get to interact with. And that's such a cool piece of the puzzle, trying to figure out like all those different layers.
Definitely. I love the mountains. I just don't like the area.
Yeah. I love it too. And I hope it stays open for a really long time though, because it is such a cool historic. It was like opened in 1922, right?
Yeah.
It's just been around forever and it's such an iconic location.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, area, I'll take you past it, Candy, but we're not stopping.
Stop in the car long enough for me to take a picture so I can go check
off, done. I will take Derek to the mountains, the Indian Mountains, and not go on them, but near them, and you can see what he picks up.
Oh, yeah, he cool. Does phenomenal at the Indian Mountains because he's got Cherokee in him. So depending on what tribe it is, yeah.
I can't remember which tribe it is.
I'm excited to hear what Candy thinks when she comes to Minnesota and sees all of these awesome places.
Yeah, and then we got to get you guys down here into Iowa.
For sure. And I'm from Iowa originally, so.
And hopefully it's not snowing here yet.
Yeah.
Stop.
That's a 4-letter word. Please don't. Yeah. Oh my God. No, I hate that.
I have to laugh though.
When we plan something, it snows.
Exactly. I was just going to say, I feel like every time we've had something at the Palmer House, and Kelly kind of teases me about this, like literally every event I've had there, it's been a blizzard. We brought a blizzard, or we've brought like one time, the first time we were there filming for a documentary, we brought like a tornado, like the window imploded like while we were filming. It was insane. But we even did an event like what, in April? Like the end of
It was April 19th. And we thought, and we even said out loud, oh, this weekend is going to be safe. There's no way there's still going to be snow in April. And it was like this weird, obscure 6-foot storm.
And everyone got snowed in.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, everyone got stuck.
I remember right before COVID happened, right before shutdown, Tiffany Johnson, Justin, and their team came out to do an event at the Palmer, and we were invited because we're good friends with all of them. We got there, I think, Wednesday or Thursday, and it was not snowing. We get to the Palmer house, and it's fucking blizzard. And then we walk in, we're all sitting in the lobby waiting for Tiffany and Justin to come. And we're sitting in the lobby. We had just put stuff up in our room, which was, I think, 2 at the time. And all of a sudden we hear like heavy duty footsteps right in the up into above the lobby. Well, like, no one's up there. But they were like hard foot soles. Like you could hear them like just boom, boom, like winter boots.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, the spirits are ready for snow. Yeah, we were almost snowed in.
They can have it. They can have snow. We just don't have to see it. Spirit snow.
They can have spirit snow. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I know I have some pictures of your book, so let's quickly talk about them. So you have the Monsters of the Midwest books. And then you also have Night Visions, and then Natalie has The Spirit's Way Home. So let's start with Natalie's book. What is yours about, Natalie, The Spirit's Way Home?
Well, The Spirit's Way Home, it's interesting because that actually is more of a, when I started having all these things happen, when I started having ghost experiences where they were showing up in the middle of the night and needing help, and I was trying to figure out my gifts and how to use them, and going off on all these cool adventures with Ghost Stories Inc. I just started journaling some of the stories. I felt like it was really important for me to kind of write down how things were evolving for me. And so it turned into that book, and how that book became published was really funny. Jessica and I were out at a networking event with our agent, and we were talking to a publicist from Llewellyn, and Jessica was looking for a job, and I happened to make some offhanded comment about how I can never have another resume again because now I'm too weird. And so, and she said, well, now I need to know what you do. And I said, actually, I just wrote a whole book about it. And she said, send it to me. And then it turned into The Spirit's Way Home. So it's really the story of how a soccer mom lawyer like me started helping ghosts and spirits, and how, and I grew up Catholic. So how did, how that fit in with my faith growing up, and just kind of some of the things that I learned. And I wrote it to be hopeful for other people. I think we don't do a very good job with death in our culture. And so to be able to just give people a little bit more insight into what's actually happening was just something that I felt was important, and so important in the work that we do together, is just teaching people not to be afraid of this, and that heaven actually gets to be wherever you want it to be. So, a lot of the times anywhere we go on investigations, we're not necessarily always interacting with ghosts per se, or a stuck soul. Sometimes we're interacting with our loved ones that have actually crossed over, and they're just coming back to check in on us. And I think sending messages of that, like that, to people really gives a lot of hope to people about their loved ones who've gone before. So
yeah, definitely. Night Visions, you guys wrote that together. I think that was your first one together, right?
That is actually an anthology of short stories that we co-edited, and we both have a short story in there, but it's all stories from members of Ghost Stories Inc. group, as well as people who attended our events who wrote stories that we were able to include in that book. So that has a lot of pretty cool short stories. And
Oh my
the
God.
caveat is they all had to be inspired by a paranormal investigation that they did with us. And so there's some really cool stories in there.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's
And we had
awesome.
so much fun with that. We did our launch event at Four Paws. And my favorite story about that event, we were just talking about it this weekend, is Jessica's mom, who had to wait. She had to wait 45 minutes to get upstairs to where we were having our event.
Because the line was so long.
And she came upstairs and she said to Jessica, "Oh, you really are an author." Sorry if your mom is watching, but I just think that is so cute.
It's so funny. And seriously, you guys, at that point, I had already written like 6 books or something. I'm like, Mom, you see all my books like that when they come out, like, but I don't think she realized, like, but the cool thing was we had all of these people that had written stories for the book as well. So that's why we had this incredible turnout, because we had all of these people able to be showcased, and Four Paws did such an awesome job of like creating this really cool cocktail for us that was like smoking, and they just made it such a fun, super cool event.
Yep. And we
yeah,
had gone out to California with Jay Asher for that. So he had a story in there as well. And he was just so much fun to hang out with. And he got to do an investigation with us at Four Paws. So
Can we hop back to Natalie's just for a second? Because I have to ask her, what is her advice for people who are developing their skills and going through what she went through?
I think for me personally, my guides and angels really put a lot of things in my own path. So pay attention to the signs. I used to love going into Half Price Books and just they have an amazing metaphysical section at Half Price Books. And so I would kind of read through all the titles. And I don't know why that seems to be the book that everybody turns back in when they're done reading it. But I would just go through the titles and kind of look and see what jumped out at me, because and then read what I felt called to read. Or even online or podcasts or anything, there's so much available right now on how to do this, and being an empath, and how do you keep your energy safe. And I think, your guides and angels will put the people in your path that you're supposed to learn from. So that would be my best advice, is just pay attention to the signs, and you'll kind of be able to kind of make your own way through learning about it.
Yeah. And I think there are a lot of people who have these skills and abilities who offer classes. I know Natalie has done workshops before. We've done workshops together. I did some coaching, like private coaching with a psychic who just really helped me understand, how to kind of use my abilities in the way that made sense to me. Because I truly believe we're all intuitive. I just think that's our natural state of being. I kind of joke my dogs are intuitive, so why wouldn't I be intuitive, right? It's just a matter of like, how much are you going to develop it? And then what do you want to do with it? Like, you don't necessarily have to do psychic readings with it. You might use it just to guide you through life and help you make the choices that are for your greatest and highest good, right? So I think there's so many opportunities now too, to just get those development classes.
And I think the energies are shifting too, as we move further into the age of Aquarius, and the veils are becoming thinner than they ever have before. So even if you don't think that you have gifts or didn't have them before, it's easier than ever to tap into these gifts, because there really isn't a veil anymore. So that's also the reason it's really important to start protecting your own energy, so that you're not empathing everybody else, your neighbors' bad moods, or your family members' crabby days. So it's a really important thing to learn, no matter where you are in that path.
Makes sense.
Like Candy told me in our little chat, maybe that's why we got put together recently.
Exactly.
For
sure. Literally,
and that's how I found Jessica. And
I was gone yesterday and here today, and she hasn't left since we met. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
you found your soul sister. Then you got to hang on to those.
That's what we call each other. Yes.
Yep. Once a soul sister, always a soul sister. You can't shake them.
Yeah, because it's like me and Candy met for the first time in July, and it's like since then it's just been.
Yep. I love it.
And now 2024 will be the adventures of Candy and Jenny, I guess.
Oh my God. Heaven help the world.
God help us all. It's like I'm dragging her to Old South Pittsburgh in December, and we're doing Ashmore Estates in June, and who knows what else until then and after that.
I'm
New
sure
Year's at the Y. See, there you go. If you guys want
Yeah.
something to do for New Year's, we're going to have an actual on New Year's Eve a investigation complete with the ghost hunt, the champagne countdown, all of that.
So cool. Yeah, send us a link. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I will do.
You should get them at the Paracon next year, Candy.
Yes. Oh, yes. You have to hook me up with their info.
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Where can people find you if they're watching? Where can they go to find you?
Well, we both have websites. Mine is just my name, jessicafreeburg.com. We also have ghoststories.inc is the Ghost Stories Inc. website. And we're on Facebook, Instagram. Much to my children's horror, I'm also on TikTok. Like everywhere. Natalie, what's your website? I don't recall. Is it just
Mine
Natalie
is
Fowler?
just my name. Yep, nataliefowler.com.
Awesome.
And we would love to come to a Paracon. We have so much fun when we get to do those types of things.
I can't wait for December 2nd. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm stoked. We're going to have a blast.
Yeah. So if you're in Minnesota and you're watching December 2nd, not Shakopee. Wow. My head is just not there today. Shoreview Community Center. Maybe I'm manifesting something for Shakopee. I don't know.
I think so.
Shoreview, Minnesota, December 2nd, 10 to 5. Jessica and Natalie will be there, along with Tim Dennis of Darkness Radio. Sherry from Reiki Magic will be there. Randy Holt, who is an intuitive painter and oracle card deck creator, will be there. She was busy in June with sessions from right before we opened all the way until 6:30 at night.
Wow.
Busy with intuitive painting sessions. So come out. It's 10 to 5, $5 admission. You get free lectures. The gallery reading is $25 with Sherry. Jessica and Natalie will be doing a lecture sometime throughout the day. I can't remember the time off the top of my head.
I don't remember either.
I think it's like after the gallery reading. I think it's like 2 or 3. Something like that.
We'll be there all day.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
I'll be there all day causing trouble with me, so we'll be fun. But yeah, any fun events coming up for you two besides the Enchanted Expo?
We are getting ready to share the link for our next Ghost Stories Inc. event, which will be at the Palmer House. I'm not releasing the tickets until a little later this week, but the date is going to be January 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. We're doing a retreat, really focusing in on creativity and manifesting what you want in 2024. And of course, the paranormal investigation and a couple different art opportunities for people with that too. So that's going to be super cool.
Yep. And I've been on kind of a sabbatical from readings the last few months, but I will be doing mini readings next Saturday at a good friend of mine is celebrating 11 years of her coaching business and on 11/11. So I'm going to be doing mini readings at her event, and that's at Hanu. Hanu. I can't remember the name of it. It's been a long night, but I've got all that posted on my social media as well, so you can go to my page to find that.
Well, we thank you guys for coming on, and I can't wait to see you in just over a month away. Can't believe that's almost a month away in Shoreview. But yeah, I'm so excited.
Thank you for having us, Jenny. This was so fun. Candy, it was so nice to meet you.
Awesome to meet you. Now we have to do it in person, though.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we'll definitely have to get you guys back on again because we didn't even touch half of what I wanted to talk about.
That would be great. We have another monster book coming out in 2024. I think our publisher said in the fall. So we will have lots
Yay.
of good cryptid stories we could share with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming on, and I will see you in just over a month.
All right.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. So that was Natalie and Jessica. They are amazing ladies out of Minnesota. I'm super excited. They will be at Enchanted Expo. Candy, what do you have coming up?
Let's see. Jenny. Let's see. We've got the Bell Mansion Saturday.
Yeah.
Then the next weekend with Dom and Dana, we're going to be at the Palmer House. Then we've got, Conover Square the following weekend.
Yes.
Then we're going to take a break for
Thanksgiving.
I've got OBI, Old Baraboo Inn. We're going to have the December 2nd, the end of Prohibition 90th anniversary event. Then we are in Nashville.
Yes.
Then my birthday weekend at the Y, take a weekend off for Christmas, and then we're back at the Y for New Year's.
Mm-hmm. And we got 2024 starting to be booked. And
yeah.
you never know what me and Candy will be up to. We're just going to create like a Facebook page, like the Adventures of Candy and Jenny.
There we go. The Jenny Adventures.
The Jenny, yes. Oh my
I
God.
love it.
But next weekend, Russ will hopefully be back, I hope, because I will not be home. But next weekend, our guest is Daryl Mortensen. Mortensen? I can't remember his name. He's from Ghost Hunters. He just wrote a book about the Riddler's House out in Ohio.
Nice.
So he'll be coming on to talk about that. And then I can pull up the schedule. I can't remember what the rest of the November is, but November is crazy for shows. I just gotta pull it up because I cannot remember. I cannot keep track of shows anymore. The following weekend, the 12th, Lee from Paravisions, which Candy will meet next weekend at the Bell.
Awesome.
And then the following weekend is Brandon and Mustafa from Ghost Hunters. They will be talking about their book and their new TV show, Haunted Discoveries, which I'm super excited about. And then the last weekend of November is Haunted Eloise Asylum. So I'm super excited because an event that I will be at in, I want to say March, Tim Malley's Potographs for Pooches is like 20 minutes from Eloise.
Nice. So
I'm going to be using this interview to be like, can I come and check it out? Can I do a day tour?
Please, yeah. Please.
And can I like book it for a private night?
There you go.
Eloise is like one of the places I've always wanted to go to. And if you haven't watched Scott Porter and Stephanie Book's new show on Fox Nation called The Secrets of the Asylum, it's all about Eloise and the history and the paranormal claims. And that show is crazy activity.
Awesome.
I'm like, after watching it, I'm like, book me there, please. Someone, I want to go.
Just keep adding to my bucket list. There you go again.
I know. It's just, our paranormal journey. What can we say?
We need to win the lottery, so we can just get the permanent road trip, just road trip.
Road trip every weekend.
There we go.
And if anyone is interested in learning more about the YMCA, the Haunted Rock, I cannot talk. I need to get
Haunted YMCA Rock Island.
Go to Paraflix, and there's a show called Our Paranormal Journey with the boys of We Are Paranormal, Nate and Mike. They had an episode, their inaugural episode was from the Haunted Rock Island YMCA.
And tomorrow, Solo in the Shadows premieres there.
So this place is definitely a up and coming in the paranormal field. If you're in Iowa, if you're in Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota,
Missouri,
Missouri,
Get up there.
Go check it out. Lisa is an amazing lady who owns this place. Right now it is a furniture store, but the activity is crazy as we experience the night of the Paracon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had an experience there that was crazy, and I'm going back in June and going back in December, hopefully, depending on the weather. So
No, not depending. You are manifest, girl. Manifest good weather.
But we know Minnesota weather, and I have to go through 2 states to get there.
Yeah,
So
the joys of Midwest.
Yeah. Like I told my mom, I want to just move to like Iowa or Illinois or Wisconsin so I could be like closer to all these great locations like OBI and Broadhead and Rock Island, all the places that I love going to, but it's like a 3, 4, 5 hour drive.
The farthest one of those is hour and 40 minutes away. So like that's why I love it, because I got Edinburgh 45 minutes away. The Grand Opera House is literally 5 minutes from my house. You know, all these great locations. The longest one, less than 2 hours away.
How long is it for you to go to the Palmer House next weekend or in 2 weeks?
What is it? I think it was like 5 or 6.
Oh, because it's like 2.5 hours from me. So
Palmer House, 6 hours and 9 minutes. Yeah. But so worth it.
So worth it because you get to see me, right?
Yeah. Oh God, you, Dom, Dana. It's gonna be River. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, River's coming, so she'll be investigating with us in the lobby and the children's room. She'll be the trigger object in the children's room probably again.
It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. And Belle.
I know. I'm super excited for the bell. And then we get to go and check out the Freemasons Lodge before the bell. So, like, that place is supposed to be extremely haunted and gorgeous. That's where the Fort Wayne Paracon was supposed to be this year, but it got postponed. So
nice.
We'll go check that place out before we go to the bell and before we go to dinner at Texas Roadhouse. But yeah, I love teaming up with other teams and investigating, like what we are doing with the Bell and with Ashmore and Rock Island next year. We're all teaming up with like Lee and Patty from Paravisions, and we'll also become really good friends over the next year.
I think so.
I hope you all have a great night. We'll see you back here next Sunday with Russ. I don't know if he'll have a special co-host, but he'll be back, hopefully. If not, I will kick his butt. Okay. But he'll be back next week. I'm super excited to have him back. And November is going to kick ass because I have some big things planned for November and December. So make sure you're here every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And you never know, Candy might pop back in with us. Who knows?
Never know. Yeah.
She just pops in whenever she can.
There we go.
We'll just add you as a third co-host. We'll just add you as a third co-host.
There we go.
You all have a great night, and we'll see you back next Sunday. I gotta find my video. Hold on. I gotta find my video.